Mijn teeth. Alright, hello and welcome to a new video on my YouTube channel. I know it's been a while, I've been busy. I did write some blog posts, but I didn't find the time yet to create a video. And maybe also not the right reason, but today I have a good reason to make a video. You see, my good friend Purv Desai, I hope Purv, I didn't butcher your name right now, but aka the Prince of Auditing, announced on the community forums that Microsoft in the backend, silently introduced a new set of auditing logs. Well, those auditing logs are about one of my favorite products of Microsoft, the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. And if you're not feeling the same enthusiasm as I do, or it doesn't ring a bell like, hey, why is this a big deal? Well, let me tell you. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint is the AV EDR solution, which has a lot of, well, let's say powerful capabilities and a lot of important settings. And you know, I like to monitor these important settings. If you're interested in a previous video about, well, monitoring your security baselines in Microsoft Defender for Office, I'll link a video above which you can watch. So let me tell you why this is a big deal. Because Microsoft Defender for Endpoint basically has a lot of capabilities. It has the capability to do device isolation, you can do live response sessions on devices, well, mainly any onboarded devices, also meaning your domain controllers, for example. But also, it has important settings, which aren't mainly the main source where it could be configured, but it has some important settings. For example, tamper protection or EDR and block mode, which are very crucial and very important, where I also by default enable them there, even though they are configured maybe via GPO or via the new security configuration platform or via Intune. But I also make sure that they're configured there, just in case a device doesn't get its configuration. But let's not go too deep into details, but it gives me the possibility to check if somebody has enabled, disabled a certain feature, maybe uploaded a certain indicator which caused a lot of chaos within the organization. Maybe somebody uploaded the IP address of Google and said if somebody visits Google then it's blocked. Well, using the audit logs I would be able to verify who uploaded this. But also more interesting things is, for example, we can also detect when a custom detection has been changed. Interesting, if ever a threat actor would be able to, well, tamper with my custom detections, then they could avoid detection. Or maybe I just, as a good reason, I want to keep track of, hey, who touched my custom detections. If you're responsible for multiple tenants and you have other people which are not part of your organization who might be changing your custom detections behind your back without you knowing it, I would like to be informed when somebody touched my custom detection. So, as you can feel, there is a lot of potential within these logs. So maybe let me show you which kind of logs we have. So if we go to the Purview Audit Log Activities page, we can see that we have the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint settings activities, which gives us track to see like, hey, who added the indicator, deleted them, or added them. But then we come to the juicy part. We can see who ran antivirus scans, removed certain app restrictions, but also who isolated the device, who released the device from isolation. Could be really handy to see timestamps when you're doing a report and you forgot like, hey, wait, when did we do a certain action? You could also fall back to the audit logs. Also downloading a file. Somebody downloaded a file using live response. Could also be abused if you're a malicious admin or threat actor who gained access and tries to do exfiltration. Onboarding of a device. But furthermore, also role assignments. And then we also have custom detections. We have also the Microsoft Defender custom detections activities. This is what I talked about. These are the logs we can use to monitor who might be tampering with our custom detections. So you can see there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of custom detections we could write, and there are a couple of custom detections I would create definitely. Let me give you an example. Device isolation. As soon as a device is being isolated, well, I'd rather have a separate notification that it has been done manually by somebody. Another thing is somebody initiated a live response session. This is very important because somebody might also be snooping into the CEO his laptop. Also a very important one, for example, is downloading an offboarding package. An offboarding package has a limited expiration date, so it has an expiration date rather. And handing out an offboarding package means if it gets into the wrong hands and it's not handled carefully and comes into the hands of a threat actor, they could offboard your device on a legitimate way, which means you lose all of your detections on that specific device. And as I said, custom detections, I want to know when and where and how my rules were edited, so I'm looking very forward to that. So these are a couple of detections which I would definitely write. Now, getting to the logs. So let me walk you through what you have to do at a minimum. At least that's how I see it, is you have to make sure that you have enabled unified auditing if you haven't done it already. So let me walk you through it. So you go to the security.microsoft.com portal, you go to settings, advanced features, and then you scroll a little bit down to the slider of unified auditing log and make sure that it is on and that you save your preferences. Now, very important to understand is that these logs will be written to the Office 365 audit log. Very important, keep that in mind for in a couple of minutes when I go to the bad news that I have to bring. So now we've made sure that we have enabled the logging, but how do I access those logs? So go to the left-hand blade, scroll a little bit down and go to audit. Within the audit page, we'll do new search and then we'll select our workload. Our workload will be the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. Now a little tip. You can see your start and your end date, and you see, for example, here it's April, and it's actually 00, meaning it's the previous night. What I always do to make sure that I get the most recent audit logs is move the hour as far as possible as I can. So I will make it, for example, like 11 p.m., 11:30, and we can do search. And here I have a couple of examples of what we can find and how they'll look. We can see that these logs show, for example, that I tampered with an advanced feature. You can see that what did I do? I enabled EDR in block mode on my test tenant, or what did I do else? I did it twice, for example. Did I enable? No, I set it false, and then the other one, I set it to true. So I disabled and enabled it, but also I added an indicator. And what did I add? I added the indicator of, what did I add? Blah, 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 land.com. I had a lot of inspiration. As you can see, I can really query this. We also have a different way to query those where they're hidden, which is in the activity log of CloudAppevents. So if we go to activity log, and let me look for my username. Let me do Louis, get my name out there. We can also see that Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, rather. I'm using the old name. Pardon me. Let me look for a great log. For example, the downloading the onboarding package gives me the view, and we can go to view raw data. We can see that, for example, I downloaded the offboarding package for demoting a local machine. I also downloaded another offboarding package, it looks like, or is this a duplicate log? Might be a duplicate log, or it's just me just double clicking the download link. What I also can see is isolation of a device. I triggered the isolation of a device. Can I see which device it is? I can see the timestamp, client IP, and I can also see the device name, which is perfect, and who did it. It was me. Interesting. I can also see who ran an antivirus scan, and actually pretty much all of the logs which are documented in the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint auditing documentation, which I'll link in the description. So this gives a lot of potential. We can also see what is inside of those logs now. So from an interactive way of consulting these logs, we pretty much can get a lot of information. But what if I want to automate this? And this is still the sad part we'll still have to wait for. Remember when I said it's very important to know where these logs end up? Well, they end up in the Microsoft 365 auditing. And I want to have those logs within my Sentinel, because this is the place where I will do my custom alerting, maybe create my notification rules, or have a specific setup for these scenarios. Well, let's see how we can get those logs inside of my Sentinel. So let's start with analyzing our data connectors. If we go to our data connectors, let's maybe start with the Office 365. If we go to the Microsoft 365, formerly Office 365, and we check the audits, well, we see three types. We see the Office activity for SharePoint, Exchange, and Teams. Wait a second. Where are the logs for Microsoft Defender for Endpoint? Well, I'm sorry to say, but they aren't there. They aren't there yet. There is no way to get those logs. It's not implemented by default yet in the connector. And if we're going to check on, let's say, well, wait, we could also find these logs in Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. So if we go to that connector, we go to Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps and check the data types we have available there, well, we see that we only have the security alerts and the MCAS shadow IT reporting. So that connector also doesn't give us access to any activity log which is registered by Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. Meaning, and this is the really sad part, we can't build detections yet. We have access to the logs, but there is no way for us yet to create any custom detection, notification rules, automations, or anything. So please stay tuned when these logs will become available, because, boy, the detection engineers will have fun, and we will be able to monitor our Microsoft Defender for Endpoint configurations a lot better. And this basically concludes my video, concludes my story, which I really wanted to bring because I was very happy these logs came available. Although we're not there yet, but we still have a lot of potential, meaning I can make another video about some custom detection I'll probably write and share with you guys that you'll definitely want within your Sentinel. I want to thank you for watching me and Ernie making this video, really clicking, and I hope you had something. You found it interesting and know right now why I'm so enthusiastic and happy about these logs. Thank you for watching, and well, stay tuned for the next adventure.